Hi everyone, thanks so much for being here. My name is Kat and I make houseplant videos here on Good and Planty. If you just so happen to absolutely love this video, please consider liking it, commenting, subscribing, or follow me on Instagram. All of these things help me grow my channel like a plant. Did I just finish filming the other video for this week and only change my shirt? Maybe. But I am here today to talk to you about overrated houseplants in my opinion. Some of these plants I have owned or do still own, and others I am simply speculating are overrated in my opinion. Once again, the first plant on this list is one that I wanted to start things off with so you knew I was not playing around. So everyone that watches my videos knows how much I love Syngonium so much. But yes, the number one plant on this list is a Syngonium. It is the Syngonium army. Can you tell why I think it's overrated? Basically, this plant is very expensive. If you don't know, I ordered this from a Green Spaces order a long time ago. That was actually one of my first videos. Well, not that long ago. I'm still a newbie, but you get what I'm saying. And it completely reverted on me. The variegation is not stable. So when I first got the plant, there was some beautiful variegation on there. I thought it was gonna be fine. I put it in water. I kept it in the greenhouse for a long time. I gave it really strong light. It doesn't matter. I have some extremely light variegation. I don't know if you can see it. I think you can see it a little bit with my iPhone, but yeah, the variegation's gone. I even tried to whack it back a little bit, keep it in the greenhouse, and see if the new... Sorry, my phone died, which was rude. Anyway, moving on. Ooh. Okay, moving on. So this plant is expensive and it reverts, and the variegation will make you sad, is basically what I was getting at. So Syngonium army, overrated in my opinion. Does that mean that I won't try again? Absolutely not. I am still a Syngonium gal for sure, but you know, if you're not like Syngonium or die, then don't bother with this plant, honestly. Next plant is one that I've talked about loads on this channel before, and it is the CALATHEA ornata. This plant is stress in a leaf. I got this plant wanting like a pink plant. It was honestly one of my first plants, which is probably why I'm so emotionally scarred from it. But I think that it's so beautiful that a lot of new plant lovers and owners want to dive into the world of CALATHEA without really knowing too much about them, kind of like me, and then just become frantic about them because nothing is working and they need really specific care, and then it kind of brings you down a little bit off of the plant high, which, you know, I'm not a huge fan of. I want plants to make everyone happy all the time. So in my opinion, there are plenty of plants with pink in them that are so much easier to take care of than the CALATHEA ornata. Aglionema wishes, you can get the Stromanthe Trio Star, you can be fancy and get a pink princess or a Syngonium pink splash. In my opinion, all of these plants are so much easier to take care of and are extremely beautiful. So there you go. Okay, number 3 on the list is the fiddle leaf fig. I don't think that comes as a surprise if you've watched these kinds of videos before, but it is a little bit of a similar deal to the CALATHEA ornata. They are pretty readily available for you to try out if you want, but they are a little bit higher on the price scale, and the amount of attention and care that they constantly need is a little bit exhausting in my opinion, and can kind of, you know, gear people away from the houseplant community if it's not going well right off the bat. It's like you water it too much, too quick, and then it gets those little spots, and then if you don't water it fast enough, then the leaves fall off. It's just like a lot to keep track of. Personally, that's not for me. I feel like people put the fiddle leaf fig on the same tier of Monstera deliciosa in terms of common houseplants, when my Monstera is such an easy breezy, easygoing gal. So don't be fooled by Architectural Digest or Bloomscape or whatever. You don't need a fiddle leaf fig, and that's what I'll say. Number 4, we have the whalefin SANSEVIERIA. I think prices came down a little bit, but at one time we were paying like $100 for a leaf that wasn't going to really grow for you. I think that it's fairly overrated unless Sansevieria are your thing. If you're looking for just a low light house plant and you want to go snake plant, then There are so many more accessible snake plants that will do the job. It's not for me. It looks like a headboard. Honestly, just like divide your current snake plant and take one leaf out of it and pot it into one pot and you have yourself a whale fin. If I do this, I'm getting whale fin energy. I know that they get big and beautiful, but that's just my cranky opinion. Next, we have one that might surprise some of you. I do own it, and it's still alive, and it is the string of hearts. First of all, I have 4 strands. It came in like this tiny balding pot that I'm working overtime to fill up. I've done the wraps, I've done the cut and prop, like the Harley G method, whatever, name it, I've done it. And it just takes so long to get a bushy plant. And then guess what? Once this gets bushy, I want a big pot. So I'm gonna have to like up pot it and then do the whole thing all over again. You have to think years ahead for this plant, and it's not cheap. It's a fairly expensive plant, especially if you're getting the variegated one. It's like $25 at least for like a 2.5 inch pot, while this regular version is cheaper. It's still not a cheap plant, especially if you want to buy an already full one. If you're like me and went like a little bit of a cheaper route and have something that looks like this, it's a little bit overrated. I think there's other trailing plants that are just as beautiful. Don't get me wrong, this plant is absolutely gorgeous. That's why I have it. That is why I take care of it and don't want to give it away. But, you know, there's a lot to keep in mind with this plant, and you need top-down light, otherwise it's gonna get ugly. Take what you will from this one. Next up, we have the philodendron brandy. I don't know how to say the longer version, but brandy. I don't know what it is about this plant, but the pattern just doesn't do something for me. While that is a personal opinion and preference, I think that the price tag is really high for a philodendron that grows kind of quickly. I think that the prices are slowly starting to come down, but they were very, very high. One of my friends has a philodendron brandy and it's growing up a pole, and the leaves were a little bit bigger, so it was a little bit more wowing. I feel like I would just get like a scindapsus or something like that if I want that silver look. Next up, we have another one that's pretty popular, and for some reason this is another preference one. The MONSTERA PERU just doesn't get me going in any certain way. I think it's a little bit bland. I like the texture of it. I can appreciate the beauty, but I personally cannot pay the price that it's going for in most places for that look. And I've heard it's a slow grower. So maybe if the price comes down, I'll be able to appreciate it more as just like a common plant. But for what it is going for locally, not for me, isn't doing it. Okay, so this next one is going to explode the world with my bold opinion. I do not like the variegated adansonii. I know. Okay, so hear me out. Basically, I don't like the regular adansonii. There's something about the holes that just freak me out. And now that I'm seeing how expensive the variegated adansonii is, like a rare plant shop by me used to have it online for like over $2,000. And I just think that, I don't know, I think that like variegation gets people crazy. Other people have their preferences. For me, the adansonii is not that big of a deal. I know that there's plants that just go for really expensive. The Monstera obliqua is a great example of that. That's just a plant that is genuinely hard to come by, in my opinion. You can get plenty of other variegated plants for way, way less. Okay, next up on my list is another plant that I think is a common favorite, but I do not like the HOYA RETUSA. I think it gets mealybugs. I think it looks like grass, and I think that it goes for way too much on the market. It is slowly coming down, I will say. Like, I see them for $20 now, but for a long time they were really expensive. Okay, and the last plant on this list is one that I have a variety of, but it's not exactly what I'm going to be talking about. So I have the regular string of pearls here, and I love this plant so much, but I will say that the variegated string of pearls is just not worth it. I have seen this plant in nurseries. They always look sick. They always look like they're about to die. I am constantly seeing people post their variegated string of pearls dying on them, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's hard for them to photosynthesize when they're variegated, like particularly string of pearls. I really don't know the science behind it at all, but I just know that it is hard to keep the variegated variety alive, and they're extremely expensive. So I would just say stick to the regular old green variety. It is so beautiful. Maybe this is like a variegation hate video. I don't know what's going on with me. Yeah, I don't know. I used to really love variegation, I think, but I think part of me trying to just stop buying plants right for the trend is looking at a plant and genuinely asking myself if I like the variegation or if I'm just buying it because it's variegated, so therefore like cooler. And sometimes I really genuinely like the variegated version of things better. With all that being said, those are my overrated houseplants. I would love to hear any plants that you think are overrated. That would be fun, especially if I own them already and you can roast me a little bit. Thank you all so much for watching, and subscribe if you don't already. Please like this video, all of that good stuff, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!